A general strike without mutual aid is a war without supplies. It's a battle without reinforcements. It's walking into a fight thinking that your enemy will play fair. The capitalist class relies on the idea that we can't take care of each other. They bank on the assumption that without their paychecks, without their overpriced grocery stores, without their corrupt institutions, we crumble. They need us desperate. They need us isolated. Mutual aid blows that whole game apart. It's the safety net that capitalism pretends to be. And in Michigan, that net is already being woven, reinforced, and ready to hold the weight of a general strike. Right now, mutual aid networks are operating from Detroit to the Upper Peninsula, redistributing food, securing shelter, offering financial support, and making sure the people who have been left behind by this system aren't waiting around for a rescue that will never come. These aren't charities, they're survival networks. So, let's break it down by region. No matter where you are in Michigan, there's a mutual aid group fighting to keep people alive. Detroit has always been a battleground for working class survival. The labor struggles, the union fights, the factory shutdowns. This city has seen it all. And every time capitalism abandoned it, the people of Detroit took care of each other. That legacy continues today with some of the most well-organized mutual aid networks in the state. Metro Detroit Mutual Aid isn't just about handing out food. They're training people in survival logistics. That means knowing how to distribute resources effectively, how to handle emergencies when the system fails, and how to keep entire communities afloat when the economy decides they're expendable. Michigan Mutual Aid Coalition is another prominent organization. Forget corporate-funded nonprofits. Those waste money on CEO salaries and useless PR campaigns. Michigan Mutual Aid Coalition is direct action, worker-led, and built to support movements. When strikes happen, when workplaces shut down, when workers need backup, they show up. Hamtramck Mutual Aid and East Side Mutual Aid are groups that operate hyper-locally, meaning they know exactly what their communities need. This isn't some top-down organization deciding what's best from an office miles away. These are neighbors supporting neighbors, making sure no one falls through the cracks. For the People Mutual Aid prioritizes underserved communities. This network makes sure that mutual aid isn't for the most visible or vocal, it's for the people capitalism ignores completely. No red tape, no barriers, just help. Now, not every major labor struggle happens in the big cities. From factory towns to college campuses, workers in central Michigan are just as vulnerable to economic instability. And that's where these groups step in. Lansing Area Mutual Aid. In a city that houses Michigan's government, you'd think people wouldn't need mutual aid. But capitalism doesn't care if you live next to the capital. People still go hungry. This network focuses on housing security and food distribution, ensuring that the working class isn't left behind while politicians argue about policy. East Lansing Neighbors and Communities Help Each Other is a group that helps vulnerable populations. College towns like East Lansing create a unique kind of economic instability. Students live on razor-thin margins, campus workers are underpaid, and the moment someone loses their job, there's no safety net. This network steps in to fill the gaps, connecting people with resources quickly, efficiently, and without bureaucratic nonsense of traditional aid. The west side of the state has long been seen as a different beast from Detroit or Lansing. But that doesn't mean that the working class there isn't struggling. or that they aren't organizing. Grand Rapids Area Mutual Aid Network. They aren't just a food bank. They operate under an explicitly anti-oppressive framework, meaning they don't just help, they fight. They understand that poverty, job insecurity, and homelessness are built into this system. Their mission isn't just to patch holes, it's to tear down the structures that create those holes in the first place. West Michigan Mutual Aid Network is a broader coalition dedicated to housing insecure individuals and redistributing resources effectively. The west side of the state might not see the same mass mobilization as Detroit, but these groups are proving that mutual aid is just as vital in smaller communities. Now, proving that rural communities can organize is one of the biggest challenges, because they can't. It's a big lie that capital spreads that says that they can't. They want us to believe that if you don't live in a big city, you're on your own, and that's utter bullshit. Mutual Aid of Northwest Michigan is a rapidly growing initiative focused on community interdependence. These organizers understand that rural poverty is real and that waiting for government help is like waiting for rain in the desert. They've built a network that connects people in crisis with direct, fast, and meaningful support. While local networks are essential, some mutual aid efforts need to operate statewide. These initiatives aren't tied to one city or region. They're available to workers and communities across Michigan. Michigan Alliance of Time Banks is a system that facilitates skill and service exchanges across the state. Instead of relying on cash, people trade labor, knowledge, and resources directly. Need a repair? Offer a service in return. It's the closest thing to a post-capitalist barter economy that we have. Michigan Black Mama's Bailout directly supports incarcerated Black mothers, ensuring that cash bail doesn't become a death sentence for struggling families. If the system is going to criminalize poverty, mutual aid will dismantle that weapon piece by piece. A general strike doesn't win because of slogans. It wins because people can survive without bosses. And in Michigan, that infrastructure for that survival is already being built. We don't need to wait for permission. We just need to use what's already there. Because the next time we walk out, we're not coming back. Not until we win. Let's keep going.